It is said that each generation believes that history begins with itself. A great truth, and as strange as it may sound to today's young ears, gaming and technology were not always the mega popular fields of 2023. You know, back in the day, these areas were just niches, and the people who inhabited them were called nerds, geeks, you know the stereotype. Today, the world of gaming and technology attracts everything cool and trendy, like flies to honey, I was about to say something else, from athletes to artists. And fashion brands. And I'm not talking about gaming socks here. And even if I've been waiting for a Nike laptop for a long time, that doesn't mean that many other brands haven't tried their luck. If you remember, we recently talked about the ROG Flow X13, made in collaboration with Acronym. It was kind of a gaming tablet for the fans of exclusive outfits. And I believe it reached its target audience, but nothing phenomenal. I also remember the Republic of Gamers collaboration with Alan Walker. That was a cool concept, but still with a limited target. And if I go even further back, I think I recall a collaboration of the Taiwanese brand with Lamborghini, and that didn't exactly break the mold either. But maybe this time they'll be lucky, because Asus decided to join forces with another well-known brand, Bape or a bathing ape, which particularly resonates with the younger generation. You know, those heavily involved in social media, have started working and have some money to splurge on things they see online. And thus was born the Vivobook S15 Bape, a useful laptop, more affordable, and yes, in step with the trends. You don't have to take it out of the box to know it's a special edition. As soon as you open the package, besides the laptop, you find a big Bape figurine. Take out the laptop and underneath is a secret compartment. Here hides an Asus Marshmallow mouse, Bape customized, which also comes with a cover that matches the theme of the box. We also found the compact charger, a pouch with Bape stickers, and a kind of skin for the keyboard. And that's not all, because in the slightly larger brown box we initially removed the laptop box from, we also found a travel bag, Bape branded, which is quite stylish. It has a compartment for the laptop, of course, and space for the mouse, perhaps a small keyboard, accessories, a diary, pens, basically everything you need for work or travel. Overall, that's the package. I think it's a cool move from Asus, a fan service for those who appreciate the Bape brand and who are the main target of this Vivobook. But what I like most is that Asus somehow manages to retain their sense of humor. In fact, many of their products have this trait. Just look at the ROG Phone, ROG Ally, or those crazy Flow X13s with portable RTX 4090 graphics cards. Are they all excellent? Not necessarily, but the brand knows that. What matters is that they're interesting in an industry that seems to have become a bit bored with itself, where all phones look the same, laptops are similar, and even PCs don't have the flair of the old. But enough talking, we still have a laptop to test here, not just to unbox a little monkey and the bag. Because you see, the Vivobook Bape is a very handsome and quite robust specimen. The construction is sleek, minimalist, and the laptop is thin and light. The lid is adorned with glossy drawings over a matte background. I don't know how it will look on camera, but trust me, in person, it's breathtaking. The theme on the lid continues inside, especially on the touchpad. The keyboard itself is no different compared to other Vivobooks, but for what it is, I have no complaints. It feels quite good, even if the keys are a bit mushy, but the layout is ergonomic, so I didn't need any time to adjust before getting to writing. So, what else do we have? Oh, the screen. Vivobook Bape has a 15-inch OLED screen at 120 Hz. Exactly, a 120 Hz OLED screen and a resolution of 2880 by 1620 pixels. I think it's the first time I've encountered this 1620p resolution, but well, you live and you learn. And the first thing you notice is the format. Even if Asus has spoiled us with 16 by 10, this time we have 16 by 9. But it's a 2.8K OLED panel validated by Pantone. It's also VESA Display HDR certified with a peak brightness of 600 nits, meaning HDR 600. So it's great. And if you add on top the 120 Hz refresh rate, you get a panel that looks good, is beautifully colored, and works well for office use or watching movies, even in less demanding games. Going inside, we find an Intel Core i9 13900H processor with Intel Evo certification. Intel introduced this Evo thing as a badge of approval, kind of a trust me bro. So, for hardware, we have the aforementioned processor, combined with an Intel Iris Xe graphics solution. This EVO certification also ensures the laptop has Thunderbolt 4 and Wi-Fi 6. And lastly, all EVOs must be lightweight and all must have high autonomy. And in all these scenarios, Vivobook BAPE excels. The 16 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM helps, as does the storage, a 1TB NVMe PCI Express 4.0 SSD. Connectivity consists of the aforementioned Wi-Fi 6 plus Bluetooth along with Thunderbolt 4 for very high transfer speeds, a USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A, another USB 2.0, HDMI 1.4, a jack and a power input. And all of this fits into a thin chassis with a metal lid and a weight of only 1.7 kilograms. How's the battery life? Well, it has a capacity of 75 Wh, which performed well in tests. The average brightness of the screen was around 70%, and even with synthetic tests, browsing office tasks, watching movies on Netflix and videos on YouTube, we consistently managed to squeeze out between 6 and 8 hours of battery life. It also charges quite quickly, reaching 60% in 50 minutes. And finally, the camera. Maybe I'm too demanding, but it didn't convince me. In good light, it's okay at best, though there's still noise in the image, and in poor lighting, nothing saves you from that watercolor effect. Now that we've seen the design and specs, let's move on to performance. I admit I was curious to see what happens when you put an 82 watts processor in such a small and thin format. And to no one's surprise, throttling occurs, and quite substantially. I tested the Intel Core i9-13900H in Cinebench R23 with an HW-Info64 running in the background to see what was up. The results confirmed my suspicions, but it was clear that something would be sacrificed when choosing such an ethereal chassis. The i9 stays at a concerning 100 degrees Celsius, quite a lot, which obviously affects its performance. When it gets going, the highest recorded frequency was 5.4 GHz, which is good, but it won't get there too often, especially in this heat. And to be more specific, let's look at some numbers. In Cinebench R23, the Vivobook S15 BAPE with its Core i9-13900H scored 15,376 points in the multi-core test. A good result at first glance, until you compare it with the score obtained by the same processor on a larger and therefore better ventilated laptop, over 18,000. It's about the same in the single-core test, where today's laptop scored 1,696 points, while such a processor in a more generous chassis scores around 1,900 points or more. And one more thing, the Vivobook BAPE chose to stick with 82 watts, for obvious reasons, duh, but on other models with more serious cooling, this processor goes up to 115 watts, hence the significant differences. But for better or worse, the processor occasionally hits the 5.4 GHz in boost, which is a win for this model, considering its format. But I believe that if we focus on raw performance, we miss the point. It's not designed for that. It is an ultra-portable, meant for a user who is primarily concerned with appearance, who browses the internet, watches movies and clips on YouTube, occasionally makes a video call, perhaps edits a photo or clip for social media, and occasionally plays a game like CSGO or Valorant with the guys. By the way, if you play esports stuff, you'll get 100+ FPS in almost any game of that type, so the 120Hz screen makes sense. But let's put the nerdiness aside and get back to being cool, because there are more BAPE features here. And the first one you'll see is the Windows animation. Every time you start this laptop, you'll be greeted by an animation with a monkey. Once you've logged into Windows 11 Pro, which comes pre-installed, you're met with a wallpaper that continues the theme from the box. A few clicks later, I realized you can animate the wallpaper, and now I don't know what I did, but I only see monkeys on the screen as I move the mouse. And while I'm complaining, if I get another notification from McAfee antivirus, I swear I'll bite the laptop. This and my Asus, an app that's supposed to help, but seems confusing and shows pop-ups down your throat in the most annoying way possible. If Asus would get rid of bloatware, I believe the user experience would be significantly improved. Thanks, but no thanks. I really don't care about exclusive coupons for members. So this is the Vivobook S15 OLED BAPE Edition. When it arrived, I didn't give it much chance, especially as it's not for gaming, but in the end, I genuinely liked it. It has something unique, an identity you don't find in other laptops. Also, it's a limited edition, which adds value, and I think it speaks to the generation that wears colorful hoodies, being a fashion object, a statement. And when you combine all this with the actual machine, I believe we have a successful collaboration between these tech and fashion segments. That's my conclusion, and now I'd like to hear yours below in the comment section. How did you like this Vivobook S15 BAPE? And more broadly, what do you think of these collaborations between technology and fashion brands? Is there added value in the fact that the laptop comes with all these design features and all these extra goodies and accessories? Or it just doesn't matter? And now the key question. Would you be tempted by such a laptop over a regular one? If yes, why? If no, why? And if you've made it this far, subscribe to Techniqualities. Thank you for bearing with me, and of course, see you next time.